And so when I was appointed, the circuit judge who appointed me actually made the comment, it's not going to take very much of your time, and I'd like for you to do it. And it ought to just be simple and get your client ready to testify against the other two defendants, and it'll be easy. And, of course, nothing has been easy about this case. And about 4 or 5 months into it, I guess, we realized we had a problem, and that's the worst thing that ever could happen to a criminal defense lawyer, especially one with a severe lack of experience like myself, and that is to have an innocent client.
Right. So, like I said just a little bit earlier, if you can, just kind of update us on what this case is about.
Well, this case is probably one of the worst examples of a wrongful conviction that our country has ever seen, maybe even the world. It's a horrible miscarriage of justice, and the best thing that I can liken it to is the Salem witch trials, 400 years ago. It's just basically there's no evidence that could give you any sort of indication that these kids are really guilty. It was just sort of a satanic panic, lynch mob mentality that resulted in their convictions. If you look at the quantum of evidence that was presented to the jury, they basically had nothing to base the convictions on other than fear and prejudice, and it's a horrible thing to watch unfold. And thank goodness for HBO, and thank goodness that Judge Burnett allowed the cameras in the courtroom, because not only did I get to watch it happen, but the entire world got to see it happen as well.
Right, and you don't see that very much in courtrooms, do you? Do you have any knowledge or reason as to why he would let a documentary into the courtroom like that? Because I know it's hard just to get court TV into a courtroom, but
it is. And when the HBO guys came to me and asked if I would agree to it, my first instinct was not just no, but hell no, and I didn't want any part of it. I had enough problems as it is without having to deal with that issue, and I told them, besides, there's no way that the judge is going to allow this in the courtroom. But eventually, I learned that the judge wanted the cameras in the courtroom, and even though the prosecutors, they didn't want the cameras in the courtroom, the judge insisted. So I decided that this probably was going to be best, because that way the world would see what was happening. And once the hysteria and the panic wore down, then people would see this for what it really is.
Spontaneous declaration.
It's all about corroboration and
right.
And preserving for the jury to see what happened in that interrogation room. And that's one of the main reasons why I have been traveling the country, speaking on campuses, college campuses, law school campuses all over the country, talking about that very issue, because that is how we fix what is broke in our criminal justice system. We have the best criminal justice system in the world, but we have a couple flaws that we need to take care of. And the first one is, as you so eloquently stated, is the issue of recordation of interrogations. And even 17, 18 years ago, or in your case, 21 years ago, they did, as you pointed out, have the equipment to record it.
Right.
But the problem is, back then, police officers were trained like the FBI was trained, to get a confession in writing and a signature, and then that way they could go testify what the defendant told them, along with introducing the handwritten confession, as opposed to having to deal with a recording. Because in the recording, as in our case, sometimes the defendant will blurt out things that are not just wrong, but impossible. Time of death, ligatures on the victims, things of that nature. So in our case, in the West Memphis case, there was a very short audio recording on a tape recorder, but it did not begin to tell the story of what happened in that interrogation room for those 12 hours that this kid was being psychologically beat up by these police officers.
Right. And that happened.
In 1993, there were 2 states in our country that required a recording of felony interrogations, Minnesota and Alaska. The last time I counted and prepared for a seminar in West Virginia at the law school there were 17 states that now require it. So we are making